Hello, folks.
I'm not going to say it.
Here we come, Cub.
You do it so much better.
Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. Rusty and Heather Bryant. And another summer shorts answering your question. Just a couple more weeks, maybe. A few more weeks. We don't really know. We're still trying to figure out exactly the timeline of everything.
Go through the end of August and then draw the winner.
Well, maybe, but I don't know if we have enough time to plan because
that's true,
if you don't know, you got to get your question in because we'll put you in the grand prize drawing for a double date with us. We will come to you, so that will happen this fall. We're going to do the drawing here sometime in the next few weeks. We're going to keep you guys posted on that, so you'll be a part of that. And then if we draw you for the grand prize, and anybody that submits a question gets put into the grand prize.
In the United States.
That's right.
Not the United Kingdom.
Yes, that was last week. We had the UK, and Heather wanted to go visit them at the Magic Kingdom. But it was the United Kingdom. I would love to go to the United Kingdom. So, you know, if you're still listening to us, which I know you are, you're out there listening. We love the ones we love our listeners from other countries, and we have a lot of them. It's so fun to look at those statistics. But you know, we love that. And if you're like, hey, you know what? I would love to fly those people to have a double date with me. We're all in.
That's right.
We're all in.
You don't have to ask twice.
Nope. I mean, and in fact, we don't even have to necessarily draw you. You just call us and say, hey, come visit us. We'll buy your plane ticket and you come have a double date.
We'll pay for your meal.
We will buy your meal.
But we are going to fly or drive to the people that we draw, and y'all don't have to pay
Nobody
for it.
has to pay. That's right. You don't have to pay for it. We are coming.
I'm so excited. I just can't.
We have figured a way to incorporate that into our ministry budget, so it's going to be so much fun. But we have another question for today.
Yes.
And so I'll let you.
Today's is from Kansas.
All right.
Kansas. And so, okay,
Wizard of Oz. If we're gonna make connections,
shut up, Toto.
All right. So, the reason why I was kind of pausing is because this one's a really long question, and I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was really helpful so that we can help answer it correctly. But I don't think this person wants me to read their entire story on air. But there was infidelity in their marriage. The husband had an affair, and after like more than 20 years later, she found out. And
was that she found out?
Well, it says I discovered his infidelity after 22 years of marriage.
Oh,
so not necessarily,
but we don't really know when it happened.
Right, exactly. Okay. Sorry,
okay.
I probably said that wrong.
Yeah.
We don't know when it happened, but 22 years after they
they had been married 22 years, and she found out that he had been unfaithful.
Maybe I shouldn't have summarized it. Okay, but she said she knew things weren't good, but was completely shocked and blindsided by the fact that there had been infidelity. But this gentleman was baptized in 2017 and has been stronger, and their marriage has been great and better. Here's the question. You ready?
Yes.
Because then the daughter approached him and says, hey, you guys have been married 30 years. 30 years. That's something to celebrate.
Yes.
Their family doesn't know about this. And so she's like, here's the question. You ready? My husband says that he's completely for it. He says that although our marriage hasn't been the best and he hasn't been the best husband, he feels that it is worth celebrating and recognizing that we have made it this far. Throughout our years, we barely acknowledged our anniversary, mainly because of some animosity, sadness, hurt, and disappointment that she had towards him because he just treated it like any other day. So it says she agrees it is something to celebrate because not a lot of people make it 30 years, but as she has thought back in her mind, that if they ask family and friends to celebrate with them, that she wants to know if they're being deceptive and if it's a fraud. We have never really told any of our family and friends about the infidelity. I am happy to still be married and doing life with this man. 30 years, it's completely crazy. How do you move into the mindset that it is okay to celebrate your anniversary celebrate the journey that the two of you have been on.
I love
Okay,
this
the reason why I
love
wanted
this
to do this question is because just 2 days ago,
Yes.
we celebrated our 28th
28.
anniversary.
We're not there yet.
I know, we are not behind these people, but I mean, not too far behind. But when I was thinking about that the other day, when we were talking about doing this question, I was like, right now, we just celebrated 28 years of marriage, and we've had 15 years that were pre-infidelity, and then now we've had 13 years post-infidelity. So what I can't wait until 2 more years when we have 15 post and 15 pre and 15 post. I just think it's going to be an unbelievable celebration on our 30 years of marriage, that it was 15 and 15, and that our the latest 15 was way better than the first. So I feel this for this woman, because we could say, and we've talked in other podcast episodes about how when you look back on those times, were they real?
Right.
Were all of those years real? Were all the experiences and all of the things that you did together and as a family and all that, were they real? Or do we allow them to be marked and tainted by what about the infidelity? Now, I need to make sure, before you start talking, I think I may have given the impression when I read the question that he had been unfaithful for 22 years. I don't think that's the case. I think it was at the 22-year mark.
That's when she found out.
Yeah, she found out. So, I mean, for them, it's been 22 and 8. For us, it was 15 and now 13. But it doesn't matter. There's a before and an after. But to me, they're all worth celebrating.
Yes. I mean, for me, this is not an easy question. No, this is a very easy question to answer, because in my opinion, every day is worth celebrating.
That's right.
Honestly, it's like that for any marriage, but for those of us who have been through such trauma, then yes, like you have every right to celebrate and to want to celebrate. And it's like, when you say to people sometimes, he who is forgiven much loves much. And
Luke 7.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about marriage.
That's right.
Because of what we went through, our celebrations are so much more meaningful. Now, everybody, look, if you make it to 30, if you make it to 5 years, if you make it to 10 years, if you make it to 15 years, 30 years is incredible. And 28, I mean, we just did 28 years, and that's a huge accomplishment. But that 30 years is something special. And if your family is wanting to celebrate with you, you are not phony and you are not a fraud. And it's the exact opposite.
That's right.
You have made it through real life.
That's right.
Real life crap. And you've made it. And so it doesn't matter that they don't know that. And here's the thing. When you go, if you have a celebration for your 30 years, I don't know who's coming to this thing, but I can promise you they got some skeletons in their closet. And they may have worse stories than you do. And it just doesn't matter. It's not like you have to go and shout it and confess to everybody there so that you can celebrate appropriately. It doesn't matter. Like, what you guys have been through is worth celebrating. Absolutely. We're going to celebrate. Nobody knows what happened to us. I'm kidding.
Nobody knows our story.
Kidding. Whole world does. But, I don't know. This one to me, I appreciate the question because I know I know how the part feels about, hey, have we really been married 28 years? Because that first 15 doesn't seem, there's parts of it that I'm like, we've even had some couples before that have told us that they've been married, 30 years, but they don't count 7 of them because 7 of them something was going on. I can remember a couple we were coaching that said that, and I'm like, so how long have you been married? And we just say 22. I'm just throwing out a number. We just say 22 because we don't count those. And I get it. I mean, that is hard, and that's one of those things that you're always, were those first 15, were they worth celebrating? Should we? And then, but I have come to understand and know that they're real. I mean, those are real memories. And look, our 15th anniversary was in the midst of what was happening. And so is that hard? Yes, it's hard. But year 16, we were on the road to recovery, and man, it was worth celebrating.
Yeah,
It's not only that, but we not delayed, but year 15 when we had not celebrated because we had bought tickets to go to a Broadway play up in Memphis,
and it was after
you confessed, and we had not celebrated. And I remember originally I said, I ain't going. There's no way I'm going with you.
I remember.
But we ended up going because we had started the process of reconciliation, and I still remember like very extreme details about that trip that were, massively celebratory. Like we were celebrating the fact that we were still married.
Yeah.
And we were working really hard. Now, I remember there being some hard times during it. Gosh, we went to see Les Mis. And Les Mis is a story of redemption. And, and to watch that story, it was very emotional. But I remember where we ate, I remember the hotel we stayed in. I remember us going shopping. Like, I remember everything about it because it was a point that was a moment in our marriage that was worth celebrating, even though it was less than 2 months after you confessed.
Yeah, that's a good word. I was thinking how I went to a funeral not too long ago that the entire service was worship. The entire service. And I'd never been to a funeral like that. Usually it's, oh, this person was so great and they did so good. It was this man would want us to worship on a day that he is spending in eternity. And the whole service was about how good God was. And it wasn't a spotlight on him. It was a spotlight on his relationship with the Lord. And I think about how if I were planning a 30-year celebration, I wouldn't want it to be about us. I would want it to be a celebration of what God did in us and a celebration of his redemption and his restoration for us. Celebrating the fact that I was broken and was able to see my sin for what it was, and celebrate the fact that you stayed and that he put it in your heart to stay and to journey with me. And so I just think that even if you can shift your perspective into really, it's not a celebration of the two of you. It's a celebration of a God who has walked along beside both of you through some really, really, really hard times. And it's a celebration of him and what he can do in our lives. So I don't know. When I read it as well, I was like, oh, this is an easy one, because it is worth celebrating. When you said that the couple that we met with said, well, we don't count 7 of them. Like last week we talked about my breast cancer journey. I don't change how many years I've been alive just because I wasn't sick. I mean, because I
Right.
was sick for some of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm only 48 because
Yeah.
I was sick for one of those. I mean, like it's something to celebrate. It's your full time since the moment you said I do until that moment has been 30 years. You celebrate those 30 years.
Well, you're celebrating too because you're still together.
yeah.
Like the thing that certainly tears marriages apart more than anything happened to you,
That's right.
and you're still together. So that's just such a reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
And I hope that you guys do celebrate. I hope that even if it's not a big party
Yeah.
or whatever, we have learned over the years. Heather used to be this real stickler for on the days of birthdays, anniversaries, like they were such a big deal. And birthday still kind of is to her. It's
my day.
She's a little bit obsessed with that day. She starts buying her birthday presents months in advance so that she
Stop.
can conveniently forget that she
Be
bought them.
nice.
Oh, it's all good. I love that about you. But even like the anniversaries and stuff, the fact that it happens on a day, it doesn't matter near as much anymore. And I think it's because we just see every day as a celebration.
That's right.
And yes, when we get to that milestone, we're like, hey, we're going to celebrate July the 27th. Because that's our anniversary, and we may not be able to celebrate it on that day.
And we didn't get to this year.
That's right. We
were
didn't
apart.
get to. But we will celebrate it.
Right.
And, even if we celebrate it in September, like we're going to celebrate the fact that we've been married for 28 years
right.
and that God has redeemed us.
Yeah.
And yes, go celebrate.
Go celebrate.
Go celebrate.
And if you have something else in your journey where you're like, those years were rough, or man, those, that time was hard. Yeah, it's part of marriage. It happens. And so celebrate the fact that you fought through it, that you're still standing together and you're still a team.
And I would even say, even if you're currently going through something hard or you're just in a tough place in your marriage and that anniversary hits, celebrate it. Like that may be the thing that you need to be able to say, hey, it hadn't been easy recently. This has been a tough go, but we're still together and we're going to celebrate that we made it another year. And then from that point, you start working harder and make the next year better. We just had this past week somebody else that was about to hit 30 and even asked about us being a part of a vow renewal kind of a thing. And so I know that there's people out there that are listening that are wondering, because even with that particular couple, it was like, I don't know if my spouse is really ready for something like that. And I just want to say, just go for it. Like celebrate. And like you said, make it about God, not about you. The fact that you're still together by God's grace and the God's redemption and his work in your life.
That's right.
So, all right.
That'll preach.
Yep, that's right. All right, so we will see you guys next week. And don't forget to send in questions. And, hey, go follow us on all of our social channels. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. We want to get that channel going really good so we can start putting out some more videos for you guys. All right, see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.